Hey everybody, it's Sunday. We look at Sunday's readings here on the, I believe, sixth Sunday. It's also Mother's Day, so wish a happy Mother's Day to our mother living intercedes, and all those who have, by their compassion, love, have behaved as a mother. Stepmothers, godmothers, grandmothers, and those who have been a mother to us. Bless them all. And for those who maybe not be easy day, I pray for God's help and God's grace, God's consolation. All right. So I'd like to look at the second reading in Sunday's liturgy from 1 Peter 3 to 15 to 18, not very long, but anyway. It reads, Beloved, sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to give an explanation to anyone who asks for you for a reason for your hope, but do it with gentleness and reverence, keeping your conscience clear. So when you are maligned, those who defame your good conduct in Christ may themselves be put to shame. For it is better to suffer for doing good, if that be the will of God, than for doing evil. For Christ also suffered for his sins once, the righteous for the sake of the unrighteous, they may lead you to God. Put to death in the flesh, he was brought to life in the Spirit. And that's our second reading. That's the word of the Lord. Well, short reading, but sanctify Christ in your hearts. Make a home for Christ. Purify your hearts. Make him first and foremost. Not your career, not your job, not your aspirations, not even your family, not yourself, but Christ. Christ comes first. Always ready to give an explanation to anyone who asks you for your reason for your hope. First, you have to have hope, correct? And then you have a reason why you do it. So the reason must be given as a reasonable and intelligent statement of your position. Reasonable and intelligent statement. A cultivated Greek person believed that it was the mark of an intelligent man that he was able to give and to receive the word concerning his actions and belief, the reason behind his action and belief. As this theologian Biggs put it, he said, intelligently and temperately discuss matters of conduct. As they say, two things you don't want to talk about is politics and religion. They're usually not, what do you call it, calm and concerning belief, is it? We get excited. They touch buttons, It's a hot topic for all of us. So most of us, we do our best probably to avoid it, try not to go there. But we have to have a reason. First, you have to have people see you, say, what is it about you? Why you have this hope? Look, do you see what's going on around us? Why are you where you are? And you tell them, because of my faith in Christ, whatever it is for you, your prayer life, your connection to Christ. But first and foremost, do you have that hope? Or are you like anyone else? Just as pessimistic, just as negative, just as complaining? And let's face it, we all go there. I go there, we all go there. We shake our heads, and we do more than shake our heads. We get disgruntled, we get angry. Sometimes we get downright depressed, but this is a passing kingdom. We're not here. This is just something temporary. So, first, though, we have to know what we believe. Do you know what we believe? Of course, we believe what we pronounce in the creed, but what do you believe? What do you sincerely believe for yourself? Do you believe about Christ? Do you think he's died? Do you know that he raised, that he's the Son of God, that there is life after death, and that we're to live like Christ asks us? That's what we believe. And we must have thought it out. We must also be able to state it intelligently, and intelligibly to be understood. I try to avoid those religious discussions. Not so much here, but I used to go to the YMCA, and there was always some pastors there, and we had our little, discussions, disagreements. Neither side would give in, by the way. No one's really interested in the other side. We would draw the line in the sand. I remember one time a Baptist minister got actually mad at me and yelled at me. So, anyway. But also faith must be a first-hand discovery, not a second-hand story, which means it must be your own personal experience. I think too often our religious experience is based on what we hear about others. As inspiring as they may be, hear about the great saints or the individuals that we know what they have done, but what about your own, your own story, your own relationship, your own experience? Those who lead us are there. They're the best, when it's yours. Not because, the church says this. It's fine, but they want to know, what have you experienced? What do you know? So it has to be You have to know what you know, and you have to know also what you have experienced, what you have discovered. Unfortunately, I mentioned there's so many tragedies in our modern situation that so many church members who have asked what they believe could not tell you, and you ask them why they believe it, they'd be even equally helpless. They couldn't tell you, and that's what we have to combat. The Christian must go through mental, spiritual toil of thinking out his faith so he can tell what he believes and why. Know what you believe and be able to express it to others. Not, a sense of superiority, looking down on others, condemnation. No, humbly, quietly offer your truth. And it says here, defense must be given with gentleness. There are many people who state their faith with a kind of arrogant belligerence. That's our society. And we just watch those cable news, right? And they have a different guest who has a different opinion. That, for the most part, they like shouting out each other, talking over each other. There is no reverence. There's no gentleness. That's the last thing I would call it. And so we see that, and that seems to be the common denominator. That we tend to absorb that and think, well, this is how you're supposed to do it. All right? Oh, remember those, God rest Jerry Springer, who passed away, but that show, it was sort of a crazy. Anyway, it was sort of crazy. And that people fight and swear, and so after a while you say, well, I wouldn't do that, but if it lowers the bar and we begin to act that way and begin to think that way, all right? So with gentleness, you don't have to win the argument, all right? The argument is being charity and in love. It's not trying to be persuasive or who knows the right answer. It doesn't work. Your kindness and your gentleness and your conviction, let that speak for you. Oh, debates don't work. Debates don't work. And so just speak kindly and reverence. And the only compelling argument is the argument of a Christian life. It's how you live. That's the most compelling argument. You would live so that people want to know why you live the way you live. No one's interested in someone's simply knowledge and things like that. A saint is someone whose life makes it easier to believe in God. That's what it is. A saint. Hey, all right, that's it for now.